everyone, and welcome to the Arlington Author Salon. I'm Jenny Brown, and I'm going to be your MC for tonight, and I'm glad to be here at Kickstand. This place is amazing, and we are so grateful that they allow us to use their space. For those of you who haven't attended one of our events before, this is a reading series with a twist. Each author's 15-minute presentation will include a reading and something that incorporates another one of the five senses. In the past, we've had music, paintings, photographs, tasty treats, fabrics, and even smells. So we're excited to see what our authors tonight come up with. And a couple other things. First of all, we want to give a big thanks to Emily and everyone back there who's helping out at Kickstand. Our home away from home for many riders and Arlingtonians. I also want to give a shout out to Sarah Reagan and the staff of Robbins Library who helped to run the salon and are absolutely crucial to the success. I'd also like to thank our event partner, the Arlington Libraries Foundation, who provides funding and crucial support for the salon. The Arlington Libraries Foundation is the primary fundraiser for the Robbins and Fox Branch Libraries and is dedicated to helping open the doors to all who are curious, creating an inclusive space for the Arlington community and ensuring the library's future as the cornerstone of the community for generations to come. Unfortunately, the Arlington Author Salon founders and organizers of this evening, Anjali Mitra-Duva and Whitney Scherer, are unable to be here tonight. Going forward, however, Yelena Lemberski, and I will be taking over from Anjali and Whitney as organizers of this wonderful event that they've created. At the end of the evening, books will be for sale. Over here by Mike from the Book Rack. Please consider buying books to support our local independent bookstore and our wonderful authors. They really want you to buy books. We want you to buy books. Also, tonight we are going to make it a photo-free zone. So please, for starters, make sure your ringers are off. And I'd like to ask that we not take photos tonight. I'll be taking a few official photos, but other than that, we would appreciate it if you don't take pictures. All right, so our first author is going to be Jean Duffy. Jean is a nonfiction writer with essays appearing in the Boston Globe, Concord Monitor, PBS Next Avenue, WBR Cognoscenti, and other venues. Soccer Grannies, the South African Women Who Inspire the World, published by Rowman and Littlefield, is her first book. The book has won 3 awards and was published in Japanese. Jean can be found on the soccer field in Lexington, Massachusetts, where her team has been playing for some 20 years. Jean, I turn it over to you.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. It's an honor to be here. So let me just ask one question to kick us off. Anyone with a milestone birthday ending in a 0, say, in the next 10 years, where you expect you will ask yourself, how did I get to this age? So this is the story for you. Soccer Grannies is a story of the power of sport. They stay here. The power of sport to make a difference in the lives of the players, their physical health, their emotional well-being. It's the power of sport to build community at the local level, whether it's the team coming together to celebrate a win or to help each other through one of life's rocky periods. And lastly, it's the story of the power of sport to build community at the global level, across oceans, cultures, and race. I took up soccer in my early 40s. I was standing on the sidelines in Lexington watching my daughters play, and I said, that looks like fun. I'm already a runner. Surely I can run and kick a soccer ball. Fortunately, I found a group of women just starting up, and in no time I was hooked. I found it was such a fun way to exercise. I forgot about that to-do list for the hour, and now, 20 years later, those women are among some of my very best friends. I didn't know it at the time, but just a few years after I started playing, a group of women in South Africa, 40 to 80 years old, took to the playing field. These women have survived challenging times. They're of an age that many of them lived through the almost 50 years of apartheid and the dire poverty and unemployment that ensued. Yet they are strong and resilient women, and they exude this joy for life, whether they're singing and dancing or chasing the soccer ball. My later in life start at soccer led me places I could not have imagined. I would meet those South African women and we would play the beautiful game together on both sides of the Atlantic. After that amazing experience, a friend said, "Someone should write a book." In my mid-50s, this engineer who had never written anything other than emails took a first creative writing class. 4 years later, I had a first draft, and 8 years later, after that creative writing class, I had a published book, and they even put my name on the cover. So for my reading, I'm going to share a piece from the first chapter when I first heard about these South African women. So let me set the stage. It's 2010, and South Africa is hosting the FIFA World Cup, the first time on African soil. This team of grandmothers finds themselves in an international spotlight, the perfect human interest story associated with the World Cup. So reporters are flocking to Limpopo to cover the story. I'm in my office in Cambridge. It's early in the morning. I fire up my email and see a message from a soccer buddy sharing one of these news clips. I scrolled down to the embedded video and clicked play. On my computer screen appeared an older woman with a round brown face and several missing teeth. She was staring into the camera. "If I were to run with you, I would beat you. Even though I am 83 years old and have had 6 strokes. But soccer has really changed my life," she continued. "It's improved because of the football." Work temporarily forgotten, I brushed my papers aside and leaned forward to take in the scene as the camera zoomed out. The reporter explained that this grand dame with the swagger of a seasoned footballer was part of a team of 35 women in rural South Africa in their late 40s to early 80s. They were affectionately called the soccer grannies. I saw a dusty, sun-baked field on which the women moved through their warm-up exercises. Shoulder to shoulder, they worked their way up the field. Shuffle, shuffle, kick to the right, hand clap. Shuffle, shuffle, kick to the left, hand clap. Another granny with close-cropped hair came into focus. "I like to play soccer because it helps us. We were sick, but now our cholesterol, our blood pressures have gone down. Even our doctors are amazed when we go for a checkup." With that, the grannies were off and running. They chased the leather ball, kicking wildly and sending knee-high clouds of dust into the air. Caught up in the excitement, they paid no attention to the positions they were supposed to be playing. I knew this feeling well. I wasn't the only newbie on my Massachusetts team. Like the grannies, we were drawn to the ball like kids at a birthday party, descending on a bludgeoned piñata. The ball was kicked again and finally found the net. Smiles blossomed across grannies' faces as they embraced nearby players. The news reporter relayed that not everyone is supportive of the Grannies Football Club, and yet the women play on, despite resistance from community members. "Your place is at home, watching the grandchildren," they've been chided by townsmen. Even some of the grannies' friends still disapprove. "It's undignified, squeezing into short pants." A few of their own grandchildren are among the naysayers. "Grandma, you can't play soccer. You're too old." But not everyone feels that way. The camera panned to a teenager on the sidelines bursting with pride. I feel good when the grannies play soccer so they can be fit and strong, he says with a smile. The video ended, and I noticed the clock with a start, but I couldn't help myself. I went back and immediately replayed the video 2 more times. The outside observer might conclude that these ladies and I had little in common, but I knew better. My own time on a cherished team told me of the camaraderie and support they must be getting from their own teammates. The feeling of confidence that grows from flubbing shot after shot on goal. And then one day, there's a little more oomph behind your kick, directed with just a little more finesse, and suddenly your teammates are slapping you on the back. We weren't so different, these grannies and I. That day, as I scrolled through endless spreadsheets, I couldn't have imagined that in fewer than 6 months, the 7,875 miles would be bridged between my home in Lexington, Massachusetts, and the grannies in Nakoa, Limpopo, and I would be joining them on the field. So, after seeing that video, I turned to the internet and learned that the group was founded by Becca Nitsanwisi, a radio talk show host. I found her email address at the radio station and invited those soccer grannies to come to Massachusetts and play in an adult soccer tournament. Becca said right away, "We will come, my sister, we will come." There were hurdles, and it was a race against time, but we never gave up trying, and they came. It was quite the experience hosting them. During the tournament, they didn't win any games, but they sang and danced as if they'd won the World Cup. And we got glimpses into what this trip meant to them. At one time, the grannies were on the field playing their hearts out, and one granny, Lizzie, ran off the field, dropped to her knees, and put her head in Becca's lap, and she was just sobbing. I turned to a granny who spoke English, and I said, "Beatrice, is Lizzie okay? Is she hurt?" Beatrice replied, "Lizzie's fine. Those are tears of happiness. She's grateful to Becca for soccer and for this chance to come to America." And then Beatrice continued. She said, "Lizzie had 5 adult children die to AIDS. 5 is a lot." And I'm thinking to myself, what is a lot? Losing one child after another, how do you even take another step forward? Becca invited us to come to South Africa the following year, and that was an invitation we would not miss out on. In 2011, my team visited South Africa, and we were treated again to another amazing experience. We met on the soccer field, where it doesn't matter that you don't speak the same language. I ate my first caterpillar, which I decided was an acquired taste. And we visited a small village with no running water or electricity, where Becca has done community work. Now, Becca Nitsanwisi is the heroine of this story. She's a community activist. She's won many awards, and she's known as the Mother Teresa of Limpopo. For many years, Becca had a talk show on the radio, and people would call in, perhaps requesting a wheelchair or help to hold a proper funeral for a relative, and Becca would coordinate the needed resources. At 35, Becca was diagnosed with colon cancer, and while at the hospital undergoing treatment, Becca, being Becca, didn't focus on her own suffering, but she looked outward and she saw all these older women suffering from heart disease, diabetes, and various mobility issues, and she decided to start an exercise program that serendipitously led to soccer. One day, the women were exercising, and some teenage boys just kicked a ball in their direction, and one of the women reared back and tried to kick the ball. The women laughed, and Becca told the boys, "Show the grannies how to play." They were hooked like me in no time. And they said, Mama Becca, that was fun. We want to play again. And despite resistance, play on they did. For all the same reasons I love soccer, they did too, and even more so. Their health benefits were much more significant. Their to do list is far weightier than mine. And the team prays together and they have a team bank account, so they decide collectively when to help each other, so that community is very important to them. It's now almost 20 years since that first team, and Becca has inspired some 200 teams across South Africa and other African countries. And if you think about it, that's a lot of healthier, confident, empowered, strong women. So, one of the things I've learned to admire from working with Becca over the last years is how she states her dreams with conviction. We will come to America, my sister. I think it really drives her accomplishments. And 2 years ago, another of Becca's dreams was realized. A dream she expressed way back in 2010 when she was here in the US. She said, "Before I die, I want to host a Granny's World Cup." And in 2023, the Granny's International Football Tournament was held in Limpopo, South Africa. 16 teams participated from across Africa, the US, and Europe. We had 3 teams come from Boston, 50 women in our 50s, 60s, and 70s. It opened up with a parade through the town, streets lined with cheering crowds, and we paraded right into a packed stadium. Now, soccer, I started playing at 40, was my first team sport. So I had never played in front of 5 people, let alone 5,000 people. And at every goal, they were on their feet singing and dancing. It was really just a marvelous gathering of women with a shared passion. And I'm very excited to add that I returned in April for the second ever Granny's International Football Tournament. This time there were more teams, more African countries represented, and the level of play was much higher. It's good. So, next slide. Yep. So that's my story of finding strength through football and community. I would like to add that I'm donating all book proceeds to the Becca Nitsanwisi Foundation, and the book's just coming out on audiobook now, if that happens to be your medium of preference. So, and please stop by my Soccer Granny show and tell table later. That's it. Thank you.
Here's where we see how short I am. Next up, we have Rebecca Arnold, JD, CPCC, PCC. Rebecca is a certified executive coach, author, and founder of Root Coaching and Consulting, where she helps high-achieving professionals thrive in demanding careers. A former attorney, Rebecca has coached 100-plus leaders from organizations such as Google, Harvard, and top institutions in law, medicine, education, and social impact. She's known as a straight-talking, big-hearted coach. Her best-selling book, The Rooted Renegade, offers a roadmap to holistic success and was named a Forward Indies finalist and an IPNE Gold medalist. More than 50 exercises give you the tools to coach yourself anytime, anywhere. Rebecca?
Hi, everybody. It is such a delight to be here because I can't tell you how many hours I spent at this very place eating fresh rolls and iced lattes working on this book. Whether it was developing it or editing it, any of you who are in the audience who write know how much time we all spend in coffee shops. So this is a good one. If you haven't had their lattes or their fresh rolls, they're amazing. So this book came out of the early phases of the pandemic when most people who are fortunate enough to be at home were at home and starting to ask themselves the big questions. I was seeing that in my practice, at my coaching practice. I was seeing it with friends and family. People were saying, I'm not traveling anymore. I have a lot more time with my spouse or my children. And I don't know quite what to do with myself. Am I happy at work? What's up with all these Zoom calls? And what I started to realize is that the thing that many people were seeking was a holistic feeling of success and peace, which led to this book. And as a coach, I have felt for a long time a values conflict, which was that so many of the skills and practices, tools and concepts are really a human curriculum. And I felt like I was keeping them a secret, and that didn't feel great to me. So I wanted to put them all together in a book so that people could access them whenever they needed at whatever phase of life they found themselves in. So what we're going to do together today is I'm going to read a short section from the intro. Then I'm going to ask someone to volunteer for a demo because there are lots of exercises in the book. So one of you is going to volunteer to play with me and do one. And then I'm going to read another section from the book. While I'm doing that, I'm going to pass around. This is in the human curriculum realm. These are emotion wheel stickers. What I found in my practice is that so many of us have a very limited vocabulary for emotions: happy, sad, angry, afraid. And there's a whole constellation of emotions. And once we start to understand what they are, name them, understand what that does in our body, we can start to learn how to shift our emotions. So this is my sensory gift to you all tonight. I hope you enjoy them. Some of them, if you find them in there, actually it's a wheel of sensory experiences associated with different emotions. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right. So this first section is from the introduction. And sadly, I'm at the point in my life where these are necessary. So, what is a rooted renegade? Most of us are caught in the hustle of daily life and use quick fixes to find relief from our stress, overwhelm, and burnout. When I say rooted renegade, I'm talking about those of you who yearn for change from the inside out. At your core, you want a purposeful, authentic life rather than merely getting through the day. Whether in your workplace, family, relationships, community, or institutions, you seek innovation and impact because the status quo is broken. In a climate of racism, ableism, homophobia, transphobia, and misogyny, and I could go on, sadly, you desire a heart-centered life that builds others and yourself up. Amid capitalistic values and an ultra-competitive world, you recognize that true holistic success begins inside. And you understand that this work requires a sense of humor, a dose of humility, and the courage to try new things, fail, and try again. Allow what you just said to activate something within you: passion, commitment, drive, possibility. The approaches and strategies in this book are intended to help you make deep, lasting changes that will improve your well-being and lead you towards holistic success. But what does that mean practically? Accessing calm during chaos, getting reinvigorated about your work, forging a better balance between work and the rest of your life, creating boundaries so that you have more time and energy, building habits and mindsets that fuel you, standing in your values, becoming your own internal support system, and so much more. The next frontier of true success in the 21st century will be profound, lasting, self-generating peace. Not money, not fame, not possessions. Instead, this version of success will look like spaciousness, more time and less hustle, knowing how to calm your nervous system and fire up your passions to create a deeply fulfilling life on your own terms. This is a countercultural notion, so enjoy the rebellion. Okay, now's the time where I ask one of you to come and play with me and do an exercise from the book that is about shifting your emotional state in the moment. Who wants to play? Are you being voluntold? Okay, come on up. What's your name? Bev. Love that. Rebecca. Okay, can you come a little closer so that they can hear you? Okay. So most of us have the experience of having emotions and feeling like we're stuck in them. So this exercise is to help us gain some facility with shifting up our emotions when we want to. I'm not talking about bypassing emotions, right? There's emotions serve a purpose to give us information. This is when we've felt it, we moved through it, and we're like, you know what, I'm done. Like I'm done diving into the oyster crackers, sitting on my couch, scrolling Netflix. I'm done kind of being in it, and I'm ready to move. Okay. So what is an emotion you want to experience more of in your life, Bev?
Happy.
Happy.
Yes, sure.
Ooh,
Joy.
love that. Ooh, your whole face lit up and your eyebrows went up. Can you tell me about, briefly, about a time where you felt true happiness?
Oh boy, I didn't know this was going to be homework.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Happiness. Sometimes in the morning, my two dogs come over and hug me at the same time, and I scratch their necks, and it's that simple.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a beautiful image.
Yeah,
Do you, when you imagine scratching them and them looking up at you adoringly, I'm sure,
they do.
how do you feel inside of you? Do you notice anything?
I breathe. Yeah.
Like probably for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time
Yeah.
in weeks, though.
Yeah. And I noticed so much lightness here. Like you breathe and you actually got expanded a little bit. Okay, so can we play with something for a second?
Sure. Should I put
Okay,
this?
let's put this here. Let's do the opposite. Okay. This would not be happy. Okay, let's say you're walking around your house like, ugh, it's raining. I mean, I felt like this is Mark. It's raining. Is anybody gonna come? Right? You're like, right? Or you're like, I have to take the dogs out. Right? This is the
Yeah.
default state you might find yourself in.
Yeah.
Now, imagine you're petting the dogs and they're with you and they're looking up adoringly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anything else occur to you as you notice that or as you think about that?
I breathe. I'm still breathing.
Yeah.
There's more
Yeah.
breathing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So imagine you were at a down day and 3 times that day you imagine petting your dogs and how it felt and the lift and breathing you would get. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is like a human magic trick and we all have this in us. Thank you for playing with me.
Thank you.
Let me give you this back.
Did I pass?
You did.
Oh, that's
A
good.
plus. A plus. So that's just one example of a type of exercise that's in the book. And this is what I mean about human curriculum. Don't you wish we were all taught this stuff in school? That you could just shift up your emotions if you wanted to, that you could change your mindset. If you have habits that aren't serving you, how to switch them up and have habits that feel better. That's what's covered in the book. So now we're going to switch gears. I'm so glad we had that joyful moment thinking about the puppies, because this one's a little heavier. And this is in a section about shifting your relationship with others. And it comes from, I did a lot of work on my relationship with my dad through my life. And I needed a deeper dive. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this section and an exercise that I've used to transform that relationship. Okay, so this section is called Transform Your Anger, Fear, and Resentment. Sounds great, right? How are you holding on to pain with self-righteousness? Do you refuse to give another person the satisfaction of your forgiveness? How's that working for you? I felt like that for a long time, and it was effective in protecting me from pain until it wasn't. My introduction to soul-altering forgiveness came from Ho'oponopono, the native Hawaiian forgiveness ritual. I first learned about these practices from Get Rich, Lucky Bitch, Release Your Money Blocks, and Live a First-Class Life by Denise Duffield Thomas. I don't love the title, but a lot of her work resonates. There are several different Ho'oponopono traditions, as the ritual varies from island to island and tradition to tradition. And there are also more secular variations. At their root, all the variations I've seen are about cultivating forgiveness and compassion, releasing the hold of conflicts and grudges, enabling our own healing, and making ourselves right with self and others. In the process of Ho'oponopono, you recall the grievance, what someone's done to you, remember what happened and the emotions associated with that memory. Then you imagine a conversation with the offender in which you offer forgiveness. There's a mantra associated with this ritual. You say to yourself, you say the following to yourself, directed toward the offender. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. This is an opportunity to take complete responsibility for your life and circumstances. I used this process to explore how to forgive my father. He had been diagnosed with ALS and didn't have many months left. I had spent decades, literally, in therapy, working through my relationship with him, the harm he'd done to our family, and the estrangement we'd had in my adulthood. He was a complicated man who dealt with bipolar disorder and narcissism, which had pervaded my youth. He had serial affairs with women close to our family, and he lied when I confronted him about having an affair. In manic states, he was Don Quixote, tilting against windmills of unions, gas car companies, and liberalism. When he married his mistress after divorcing my mom, he told my sister and me in the parking lot that the deed was done. In the months leading up to his death, I yearned to make some sort of peace and experience heartfelt forgiveness, not the obligatory forgiveness for a dying parent. I wanted to access love, compassion, and tenderness. I understood that he was mentally ill, and some of his indiscretions, self-serving, and inability to take others' perspectives resulted from that. But feeling warmth and tenderness was a completely different matter. Following this process, I wrote down every incident I could remember that I was upset at my dad for, from the tiny moments of frustration and irritation to the large moments that sat like boulders in the middle of my childhood. The list was more than 100 items long, scrolled across the orange pages of my journal. For each item, I recalled what happened in exquisite detail: the conversation, the time of day, where we were. I allowed the emotions to come, whatever they were: anger, frustration, irritation, jealousy, sadness, and disappointment. Tears flowed. The emotions moved through me until they were done. Then I began to speak the words. I forgive you for doing the best you could, for trying, for not knowing how you hurt me. Please forgive me for holding on to my anger, for not seeing you in all your complexity, for not being able to forgive you sooner. Thank you for bringing me into the world, for the time you took with me when I was little, for helping me understand the qualities I wanted in a partner that differ from yours, for helping me know what kind of a family I want for my own children, and for providing for a family when I was young. I'm sorry that you suffered, that your life was hard, that I've held on to this for so long. Then I pictured my dad and said, I love you, evoking warmth in my heart. Following that, using my own Reiki practice, I connected to where I felt the negative memory in my body. I imagined that negative energy as smoke, darkness, sludge, and so on. I inhaled deeply, sending breath and energy to the spot in my gut to dislodge the stuckness. And I exhaled, imagining my breath sending the negative energy and heaviness out of me. After this was done, I moved on to the next item on the list and repeated the process. This took a long time, like many months to do this. But after this time, more of the good parts of my father became visible to me. I was able to recall memories of my early childhood. The angry sludge in my belly loosened. The final step of the forgiveness ritual is to make a declaration. It could be how you want the relationship to be, how you want to see the other person, or how you want to move forward. Mine was, I appreciate how you were in my early life. I understand that you were limited in what you could offer me, and I hold that with compassion. When I learned that my father was going into hospice, it was time to say goodbye. I crafted a letter that shared good memories of him and my deep appreciation for him. I read it through gasps in my sobbing. He couldn't hear well and his speech was garbled, but I sent him off with the best gift I could give either one of us. It was the most connected I'd ever felt to him. Our relationship has strengthened since he's been gone, in part because my wounds have scabbed over without new hurts to reopen them. Having completed the forgiveness ritual doesn't mean that I have no negative feelings toward my father. I wish that were so, but I'm human. So I hold the sore spots with tenderness and remember more of the good parts of his legacy in me. So that's an example of, the book is a blend of my own experiences, clients' experiences, and then practices to actually make these shifts. That's all. Thank you so much for being here, everybody.
ACMi productions are only made possible with your support. Visit patreon.com/ACMi to learn how you can help.